So I'm Lauren Cohen. I am an international lawyer. I am originally from the amazing city of Toronto, which is on 310th day of 365 days of lockdown. And it's a little insane, and I haven't been home in 15 months. But I am an international lawyer, and I'm also a realtor with eXp Realty, and I'm the chair of the International Investment Committee with eXp Realty. And what happened a couple of weeks ago, my business partner in Calgary, Carolyn Ricciardi, and I hosted an event called Empowered Women of Real Estate. And the first speaker at that event happened to be this lovely lady who on my screen is to my left, Tia Bailey. And usually when I'm at events, I'm kind of half listening, like most of us, because as Tommy said, we're all a little sick of these virtual events and like listening and kind of like, okay. But I happened to be out walking the dog when Tia was speaking and paying full attention. And I was completely enamored by Angela. You just monitor the chat for me, okay? In case people enter, I think you're able to. Can you see the chat, Angela?
Yep, I got it.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you. So I won't worry about it. I'll probably still end up doing it because that's the way I am. But anyway, so Tia just blew me away because I created this model, which we're going to talk about real briefly, called 10 Steps to Immigrate Through Real Estate. And these 10 steps to immigrate through real estate were missing kind of one piece. It wasn't that it was missing, it's that we didn't have like kind of a turnkey solution for what is that real estate. So we have many real estate investors that I work with, and they're like, okay, but what happens now? How do we make sure that we have enough real estate? How do we make sure that we meet the requirement for the E2 visa of being a substantial investment in a non-marginal business? And marginality is problematic sometimes in the multifamily space because multifamily doesn't return huge investments on average per door. Dusty, you'll agree with me. You're a multifamily expert. He's been helping me with a project in California, and we'll be working on many projects together. But the challenge is that you may be spending a lot of money, but you may not be seeing the same return. And so it becomes a problem because you have to meet both of those requirements in order to be able to qualify for this immigration visa. So when Tia spoke, she was speaking about this mixed use model. I was like, mixed use model. And being the chair of commercial, international investments, I was like, that brings together commercial and residential. How does this happen? Now, obviously, this is not rocket science, a mixed use model in terms of having residential and commercial together. But what is rocket science is the way that she's brought it all together. And so I set up some calls with her and was like, Tia, how do we do this? How do we do that? And I just wanted to bring this model to all of you as my clients and my peers so that we would have kind of that turnkey solution, Johnny, that I've been talking to you about, to figure out where do we find these properties? How do we bring them to my clients? There are many of my clients on the call. I think I have 3 or 4 that have already shared this model with and that are super pumped about how to implement this into their business. So I'm going to turn it over to Tia to introduce herself and just share some really brief introduction about what she's building. And then we're going to have kind of a discussion. I'm going to show you the 10 steps and we're going to have some interaction because I think that that's what it's all about, and will be available for you to do follow-ups and so on. And by the way, Tommy, just to say, we met Tommy an hour ago and I said, come. And he's like, okay, I'm going to be in a car. He doesn't look like he's in a car. Well, Tommy specializes in 1031 exchanges. Now, 1031 exchanges, for those of you that don't know, and Tia, I'm sorry, I said I was going to let you talk, but you know me.
No, it's all good.
Just keep talking. 1031 exchanges are basically when you exchange like-in-kind property for another like-in-kind property. But what Tommy has is something really cool. And maybe at the end, we'll have a minute for you to speak about a DST, which is the Delaware Statutory Trust, which means you can transfer out. See, I did that right, Tommy? Just nod, yes, right? So, and so you transfer out of one property and usually into another. With this, you actually transfer into kind of, it's kind of like a combination, like a combo, like almost like crowdfunding essentially in this Delaware Statutory Trust, where you don't have to pick a specific property, but you get to benefit from participating in this partnership of sorts. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Tia to say hello, and then we'll try to have a little bit of interaction. If anybody has some specific questions, we'll go through those. And as I say, I'm going to share the 10 steps to immigrate to real estate. I'm going to mute myself so I don't try to talk.
Hi guys, my name is Tia Bailey. I am a short-term rental specialist and multi-business owner slash entrepreneur. 4 years ago, I jumped into the short-term rental industry in my hometown in Seattle and grew that from basically nothing into a really strong performing company that we just hired our very first person finally in January of this year, which actually happened to be my sister. So she's currently handling my entire Seattle company. I had come out here into Peoria in the end of 2019 to train somebody on short-term rentals and help them with the ones that they had. So when I got out here, I was shook because this place was pretty much an untapped market. There had only been 11 Airbnbs at the time, and the dude that I was training was managing about 4 of them. This city is where, Caterpillar was built. This is there's OSF, there's huge medical companies out here, as well as industrial, as well as private colleges. So I was really surprised that for an area that has, 100,000 plus people, that there was only 11 Airbnbs in the entire city. That just did not make sense. And I couldn't get this place out of my mind. So when COVID happened, well, actually slightly before we really started going into the shutdowns and everything, I jumped on a call with this guy last February of 2020 and wanted to talk to him about partnering together. Like, hey, I'll run everything from an online standpoint. I'll fly in, I'll help
Sound
furnish the
familiar,
place.
guys? Partnering?
Fly in, design the whole space, make it so that people want to stay there and handle the whole thing as long as he was the boots on the ground. So he was totally open to that. We launched literally in the middle of COVID, and we ended up netting almost 6 figures by the end of that year off of this small town. So I realized we were really onto something about July/August. We were doing a grand opening for 6 apartments that we had when I had gotten this opportunity to come meet this homeowner or slash building owner who was just building this amazing project in the downtown area. And he was contacting me because he wanted to see if I would be interested in picking up a couple of the apartments down here. And I was like, okay, look, I got to fly out tomorrow morning. If you could meet me at 7/8 a.m. in the morning, awesome. I'll take a walk through the building. Let's see what we can do. So I came here. This place was dirt and studs. There was nothing fully built yet. This was full on construction project. And I'm walking through this and this idea hit me. This was an idea I actually had, oddly enough, dreamt about during the whole COVID when Airbnb was kind of being total jerks to their hosts during that entire process. And I had thought of this type of concept, but I was actually now walking through the potential of making this a reality. So I was walking through this entire building. It's 30,000 plus square feet. And I had this crazy voice in my head that pretty much just said, take the entire building. And I was like, what? What voice in your head? You don't usually listen to those type of voices, right? But it just would not stop talking to me. And so I walked right up to the building owner and I said, look, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I want to take your entire building. I'm going to take all 36 apartments and your 13,000 square feet of commercial space. And he was like, who is this girl? Because I'm only 29. So, who is this 29-year-old female? How in the heck is she going to have enough money to cover all of the rent? Because the rent is actually, the rent for the entire building is around $71,000 per month. And on top of that, what is she going to do with this commercial space? So I pretty much just told him, don't worry about it. Let me do my thing. So I ended up selling 30% of my Seattle company in order to fund the beginning processes of this project. So for that 300,000 that I had sold a portion of my company for, we paid for the first 2 months of rent and deposit, and then starting the furnishing. This project is amazing. No one's ever attempted it. No one's ever done it. And it's going to be something that can be applied internationally. So the concept is that you have multiple Airbnb/short-term rentals on site that you not only just use on Airbnb, but you attract, private reservations through corporate housing, through other businesses, through locals. And then downstairs, you have activities that engage not only the local people, individuals, but it engages all the other businesses to come flocking to you. Okay. So downstairs, we have a 6,000 square foot wedding / event venue. We have a 2,500 square foot coffee shop. We have a private gift shop, a selfie room, a rentable lounge, a dude's room, which we're kind of changed the name for, as well as a private conference room. So these spaces are also able to be rented by the hour, by the day, even our coffee shop. So if you want to come in and rent our coffee shop, you can rent it after hours. So what we did is we thought about what can we do with these spaces, not spend a ton of money inside of them, but still engage people locally and from those traveling in nationally to come through and want to spend $1 staying at one of our Airbnbs, but spend $5 more in all of the spaces that we have down below. So this is that concept of holistic. Like, how do we keep this business do a business that one section can feed all of the other sections? And it doesn't matter which section that you are a part of, it all feeds each other.
So I'm going to interrupt you for just a second, Tia, because
Yeah,
that
sure.
is the beauty of what Tia is talking about in terms of the model and how it fits with my clients and my concept. Because I'm all about, as most of you know, because some of you are my joint venture partners, like Elliot, for example, I'm all about joint ventures. I'm all about collaboration. Hence, I joined EXP, right? All of you EXPers on here. So in this model, and by the way, Tia is joining EXP. She's taking her license now because I talked her into it. I told her she must join because she has amazing opportunities. But the reality is that without partners, without this affiliate model that Tia's built, you're limited to the real estate and the money per door. Okay, if it's $1,000 a door, whatever. And that creates a potential marginality issue because cash flow is challenging. But when you have multiple streams of income, those of us at EXP that love that word, that term, multiple streams of income, you have multiple streams of income. Look, I just sent an invoice to a colleague of mine for $3,500 in passive income, not to do with real estate, just because I did referrals. $3,500, and all I did was speak on the phone for 20 minutes. Okay, so the reality is that this is doable. And that's why I love this model so much, because her vision matches my vision for this immigration through real estate and creating this mixed use model. So I'm going to turn it back over to her. Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's a new concept that once you hear it, it makes sense. It makes sense to have, a place where travelers can stay. And it's not even just travelers. The amount of locals that we get is insane. And to create a space that you can have local engaging activities and events happening to just gain the attraction of more and more people coming through, right? So the key to it is you have to have rentals and we're not talking like those Motel 6s. We're not talking about your typical hotel. We're talking, you need to have a legit kitchen inside of there.
We're going to do a quick tour, right?
Yeah, yes, I can take you. I can't take you into as many of my rooms because we are 98% full.
Thank goodness.
I only have 2 rooms open.
But you can see the quality of the finishings and the build out. Is the loft open by chance? The loft one?
2 of my lofts are open. All the rest of them are filled.
Okay, so awesome. We just need to see a little bit just so we can get an idea and show the event spaces, because that's the concept that I want to build out for our clients. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, where I'll take you is like currently right now I'm in our gift shop. So we're waiting on our seller's permit, but we have a unique concept here that whatever you purchase, like if it's here today, it might not be here tomorrow. So they can buy everything from the artwork down to the individual items, down to the rugs, the chairs, the couches, anything that we have. It is basically a one-stop I wouldn't say one-stop shop, but it is a one-stop shop because it's unique, but we'll most likely never get it back again. So it
And
keeps
I'll
the
add something
people
else in there
engaged.
too, and I forgot to say this at the beginning. So everybody, this is a unique concept. So even though I didn't have all of you sign a non-disclosure, by being here, I'm just asking you to keep this concept, at least some of the details we're going to share, among this room. Okay, as a lawyer, I have that obligation, and Tia also wants to protect her intellectual property that she's built. So we're sharing this with you in the confidence that you won't be like, sharing it in the XP world, for example.
So
At least not until she's ready to.
yeah, exactly. So we have hemp products because hemp just became, well, we just became legal here, but we want to do a little bit more healthier version. So we have hemp products that we work with a local company. We have physician made and recommended products as well that come through. And those guys have like no THC inside of them. And we have anything from like pet products to home products to wedding, travel, everything. So let me take you around to the other spaces. Sorry. Boop, boop, boop. I'm hoping I did not lock this door. Okay, this door is locked. So this is our selfie room. So we have a ton of enables that are inside this room, and people all over town, whether they're younger or older, they come in and they do social media, they do their TikToks, they do whatever it is that they want to do in our spaces using all of the different items that we have. And oops, just lost my headphone. It's a really great way to engage the local communities and to gain the attraction of people who might not have already been, who might not have known us. And with social media and selfie things being such of huge importance, if you ever look up or Google selfie museums, they've been all over. So we took that concept and really minimized it to really keep people engaged and excited. And then we changed the look of it twice a year. So down this hallway, we have 8/9 Airbnbs that we have rentable for guests. Now the key is that you need to have Airbnbs/rentals. Wow, speaking English problem right now. Rentals that are also pet friendly. So every single one of the rentals
See now
here
why
on
I'm
this
really
floor,
loving this, the pet friendly concept, 2 dogs. I'm like a dog fanatic. What can I tell you?
well, it's true. So these are all specifically designed for travelers that have pets. It doesn't mean that travelers that don't have pets can't stay in them. But if you're bringing your dogs, we have dog beds inside of here. We have, a dog station. We also have, kennels that we're building underneath the stairs so that, travelers don't have to travel with all of that stuff. Throughout the warehouse, we are also creating different types of designs for stations where they can take pictures of their entire travels and have memories. I'm pretty sure this one is open. So let me go in this one. Sweet, it's already open. Excellent. So so each of the apartments have a full-on kitchen, cooking, oven, stove, dishwasher. They have a shower. They get a gift bag of all of their toiletries, supplies. They have additional cabinetry for anything that they need. We keep it pretty simple, especially in the dog friendly. We keep it simple in the dog friendly ones only because dogs can be damaging. But everything that we have here was designed specifically for a traveler that we know isn't going to end up staying here for a long period of time. Because what a traveler wants is they want more space, they want to feel comfortable, and they're usually not traveling with a ton of clothes, even though our closet is actually downstairs in these particular lofts. But they're looking also for location. So our location is right by the riverfront, walking distance to all the famous bars, restaurants. We're right next to the baseball stadium. We have the convention center that's also within walking distance as well. and more. So the location is prime. And like I said, these are designed specifically for travelers who are only going to be staying here for a day or two, maybe a week. And we're starting to get a lot of traction from corporate rentals too. We just got contacted last night. So there's additional closet space in here. Contacted last night for 30 rentals for a company that's bringing in 600 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then the truth is that it just keeps on kind of repeating itself, because you're going to spread the word, and you're not even in a high in demand place. Like, think about this in Vegas or in South Florida or in a place where there's travelers regularly going. Tia's destination is a destination. You have to go there, set up the event, and need to be there. You're not just going to happen to be there, correct?
Exactly. And you have to think of what's around me. The biggest thing is you need to find out, do you have a bunch of hotels? Hotels usually tell you that it's a good travel destination, because hotels are not going to set up shop in a space that there's not. Then on top of that, you need to figure out how many hospitals are nearby, colleges, major companies, etc. We're going to hear a lot of Hispanic music in just a moment, as this is my painting crew. So this is our 6,000 square foot event space that is being put together right now. We're painting it. They just finished painting all of the roofs. The roof court, we're painting all the walls white next, and then putting in Edison lights throughout the whole building. This is our coffee shop. This is right on the main street in town. So people can come in from everywhere. Oh yeah, tons of foot traffic.
So think about this also in like a college town, or where you can have like a bookstore as well.
Like
so many manifestations of this. It's not huge, Carmen. How big is Peoria, Tia?
Yeah, one of the major colleges that are out here is only about 8 minutes away from here too.
How is the population of the city?
110,000.
Wow. Okay, that's tiny. I mean, think about it. I'm from Toronto originally. I think there's like 10 million. I don't even know. There's 10 million people in the GTA now. So think about it. And in South Florida, I think we have, well, in Boca alone, which is small, I think there's 400,000. So kind of crazy. Yes, 100%, Karina. We have to look after all of those certifications and registrations and licenses and all of that. That's all part of it, and absolutely 100%.
So this lounge is rentable by the hour for anybody and everybody for any type of event. Most people are renting it for weddings, corporate events. Will also be starting to come up now that we have more COVID restrictions being lifted, whatever. So what we did is we figured out how to turn our rentable lounge into a space that every single bride can't live without, basically. From their standpoint, they have the lounge in the morning for their hair and makeup. And then once they're all done, they get all their pictures taken in the selfie room, and then they go around and it converts into the catering area for all of the caterers, so who are coming in for the event. So that way they're not interrupting. This is like a
multifaceted, like she has this unit that she uses for the events that converts. I mean, it's like, this is what you call creative use of space. Very creative use of space and multiple uses of the same space to serve the same community. Okay, so it's kind of like my big fat Greek wedding. So instead of it being a wedding event, you can be a retreat center, you can be a corporate event center. I mean, it doesn't have to be weddings. There's so many different manifestations of this. That's why I was obviously so excited about it, as you can see. So
hey,
poor
Lauren,
Tia's
do I have
probably
screen
talked to me more
sharing?
than she's talked to her mom in the past few weeks, probably.
You're not, that's not wrong, actually. It's true. Lauren, do I have screen sharing capabilities?
You should, but let me make sure here. Hold on a moment. Yes, now you do for sure.
Okay, great. So I'm going to show you what the upstairs looks like, only because I can't take you up there since it's completely full right now with people. So this is our website. We're called Lofty Spaces and Events. We're like a hotel, but better. So this upstairs is so we have like a rolling slideshow of all of the different rentals that we have. Let me see if I can click on this gallery. It's just going to go through. So we have various rentals for every type of traveler that's coming through. We have it, so like if you're bringing a family, well, we have rooms that have a whole bunch of availability for families that have double beds inside of them. Some of our rooms have up to 3 beds. There's some rooms that sleep, 4 people, some that sleep up to 5 or 6. But they're still very comfortable and they're still able to enjoy the different spaces that they're in. Every single space is uniquely designed, so there's no replication anywhere. So even though the layout might be similar, the furniture itself will be completely different on it. And what's cool is every single one of these spaces was designed for less than $2,000. An entire studio, and you're talking fully equipped kitchen, that includes the TVs, that includes the mattresses, the bed frames, all of that. Every single space in the apartment area was designed for less than $2,000. So there's this big misconception that you have to
Let's
spend a lot of
backtrack for
money
a minute
to
because
make
that's
money.
big. Your total expenditure to build out or furnish these 36 apartments was under $75,000, right? For all
Correct.
36. Think about it. Most of us that do short-term rentals are spending about 10 to 20,000, maybe let's say 10 on each one.
Yep. And that is the biggest misconception that you can have in regards to doing this type of business is people are spending money in the wrong areas. So like our event center, just to have it painted, we were quoted, the 6,000 square feet painted, we were quoted almost $20,000. Because of networking, because we were able to have a team that was able to go out and just meet new people, between the painting and the labor so far, we've spent a little less than $3,000. And it's come out incredible. You don't have to spend a lot of money to make a lot of money. You just have to think outside the box, which is what my entire business concept is thinking outside the box. And how do I spend less but create something that guests and travelers are going to love?
All right,
and that
so
they're
I'm
willing
gonna
to spend money in.
interject because it's already 12:35 or whatever
Yeah.
time it is wherever
I'll
you
stop
are.
sharing.
It's actually 9:35 here. And I'm gonna just bring this to full circle and give everybody an opportunity to interact. So I do see some questions and I'm gonna answer them as well. Lauren, is this a concept that can be utilized with your foreign buyers / visa program? That's exactly why we're here, Barbara, because
Yep.
this model is perfect. And that's what I'm bringing to the table is the opportunity to use this as the full circle, as the end game. Elliot, I think you're going to love this model because it will give all of our mutual clients the opportunity to be able to have this kind of turnkey. Obviously, they have to work, okay? But at the end of the day, we don't have to have 36 units. We don't have to have a huge facility. We can scale it back and still meet the requirements. And that's the beauty of the model, is that it does give us that opportunity to roll this out for my visa applicants, as well as I just had somebody reach out to me about this, Tia, who's domestic, who's like, oh, I want to do this domestically. I mean, absolutely, domestically it works and internationally it works. And this is the end game for you, for those of you that are fortunate enough to be on the cusp of this with me as we're rolling it out together. All of you are going to benefit from rolling this out and learning alongside me. And that's a beautiful thing because Tia's here to teach us and help us learn.
Yep. And so I noticed in the chat, yes. So the reason why I specifically went after mixed use commercial spaces with residential is because of all the Airbnb restrictions that are happening in all of the major cities. You get a building like this, where you have a whole bunch of Airbnbs in one location, you're no longer fall under the same rules, laws, and regulations that everybody else is put under. You are not a homeowner that owns an individual home that's taking away housing from people. You are a tourist location.
So
So
there's
you are
different rules
boosting.
and restrictions, and especially
Yeah.
like in places like Florida, where, and we'll look at all of that. It's kind of the scope of
Yep.
what we're going to do.
Yep.
But it's really important, I think, to understand that if you have a vision, you can make this work. And the other important thing is there's a lot of locations, Dusty, where you'll find let's say a warehouse that's abandoned now because of COVID, and they're going to like be running away or whatever, and maybe there's a fire sale, or an old hotel that's already set up for this, maybe that we can convert into this model, like a small boutique hotel. The other thing to think about, and I just saw a message in here, how are you planning to advertise it? Okay, so that's another story, of course. So we'll talk a little about that. But the other thing to understand is that we can also, things that aren't already mixed use, there might be more flexibility with the zoning departments, the local zoning rules and regs, to convert it to mixed use. And if we tell the story, then that could be an opportunity as well. So, and the other thing is Tia doesn't actually own the building.
Correct.
So there's an opportunity to potentially partner with the owner of the building that would give them a stream of income that they don't have to work for. But this way you don't have to have as much output of capital. So there's just so many opportunities here, right?
Yes. And the biggest thing is, well, first I'm going to answer Karina's thing on where she said, here in Florida, even in mixed use buildings, owners are still restricted. I want you to specifically look up a company called Nativo, Natiivo, Miami.com. Nativo took a similar concept to what I'm doing, but on a slightly different scale. But they got the city's approval, and it's because they put all of their units in one building where there's a tourist hub.
Yep.
So when you're controlling it and there's staff on site to control it, you still have to follow rules, laws, and regulations. There's still health codes that you have to follow in regards to that. So this mixed use building is the gray area, and it's actually encouraged, especially by smaller cities, to happen because they're going to make so much more money off of you.
And the other thing is that it's COVID friendly. And that's one of the things that appealed to me, because let's say you're running a corporate event and you want to have more people. Look, I'm in Vegas. There are no shows on the strip. I take that back. There's like one show, and then some of those not so, family friendly shows, let's just say. But the reality is things are different. There are crowds here, but things are different, and things are going to be different. Okay. This model that Tia has built is very COVID friendly. Let's say if you wanted that you were running a corporate event and you required everybody to have vaccinations. That's up to you as the corporate, retreat producer or the owner of the business or whatever. You can require that, or you can require that everybody follows certain protocols or whatever the case may be, and then that makes everybody comfortable. Now, that's not to say that that's the way everybody's going to go. I'm just saying that there are opportunities to promote this as a COVID-friendly model because it's small and intimate and can be contained. And I love that as well, especially now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And there's also this idea that the hospitality industry got crushed. No, the hotel industry got crushed during COVID. Airbnb's industry went booming because all of a sudden people were sick of their own homes and they were looking for another place locally that they could stay to experience some difference and change. So now all of a sudden locals were realizing, oh my gosh, there's all these really amazing places within a 20, 30, 40-minute drive of where I am, maybe an hour drive, that I can go stay at, enjoy it, still feel like I'm going on some type of mini vacation and enjoying that. You would be surprised how many people, when we first started all of our Airbnbs, were actually locals just trying to get out of their house. It was a good chunk of them. And because of that, they just told anybody, we've had anybody and everybody. We had a few of them that decided to have Christmas in our building versus having Christmas at their own home, just for a change of pace, which was super cute. And they posted it on their social media. But if you create something that people really enjoy and people really want to do the activities and get excited about, they automatically become a mouthpiece for your company. They will tell their friends, their family, they'll blast it all over their social media. We had one couple that just recently got married, and they had a whole bunch of their wedding photos inside of our selfie room. And it was the cutest thing to see all over social media, and people being like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you had a selfie room. And it's like, that's probably because you didn't know we existed. But now they do. And now we're starting to get a lot more people in. And it's just a really great, we actually made more money during COVID than we have ever made in previous years before. So this, if done properly, if done right, and you have spaces and businesses inside of it that you can handle efficiently and effectively, and keep all of your guests entertained, there's no reason for you to be able to have failure problems. Like, this is huge. And it comes down to make sure you're partnering with other businesses in the local area. We partnered with every single wedding venue out here. There's one right across the street from us, and they send us brides all the time for hosting their guests here while their wedding is right across the street. And a lot of these places don't have as much space as we do. So they're booking our rooms, and they're booking our other spaces like our lounge and our dudes room and our, the conference room, because they don't have it on their site, and we're still walking distance from where they need to be. And so it just makes we just became more valuable to their clients too. And then on top of that, since all of the wedding venues have basically been booked, when everybody in 2020 that was supposed to get married got pushed to 2021, and the ripple effect happened, well, all those guys are booked up for the next 2 years. So guess what? Guess who they send everybody to? They send everybody to me, because I have a completely open calendar. Well, I have a mostly open calendar.
Not anymore.
We've already started getting bookings. Yeah, it's like we already started getting bookings for 2022 and for this year.
So let's turn it over to questions. Just unmute your mic. As I say, the idea was to be informal, and obviously everybody's going to have their own kind of custom model. But the beauty of what Tia and I are bringing to you is that it is customizable, it's scalable. It's scalable. Once we build one, we can build many. It's scalable to scale back, and all of those things. Thanks, Dusty, for letting me know. Absolutely. And don't forget about that other thing we're working on, please. Thank you. So we are here to provide you with as much information as we can, generically, as opposed to specifically. So please ask any questions, and I'll, just open your mic and go ahead. Come on, Carmen. I know you're up for a question.
Tia, this is Karina, actually.
Hi, Karina.
How are you, Lauren? Guys, you are amazing. That was an amazing, brilliant idea. Actually, that's what Nativo did last year. I remember when I sat down on the pre-construction presentation. Yep. So my question to you is, did you purchase the building, or are you leasing it from the developer? How did you do that for other people who want to do that?
I rent it. So I signed what's called a master tenant lease.
Okay.
And it gave me the rights to use the building as I see fit and to rent it out to whoever I wanted to. And then I just had to have my own, insurance on it and liability protections, things like that.
Perfect. And when it comes to, I ask you that question for how are you managing to do the full occupancy?
So networking. So the biggest thing is I only use one platform. I don't use VRBO. I don't use booking.com. I only stay on Airbnb, because Airbnb pushes brand new listings really quickly. And a lot of travelers are using Airbnb because it's now a household name, just like McDonald's is, just
absolutely.
like,
it's a trust.
Adidas, Nikes. Exactly. And so we get the Airbnb people to give us the first couple of reviews. At the same time, we've got our small, tiny team networking with all of the local businesses, letting them know who we are, where we are, what we're doing here. We run specific cheap Facebook and Instagram ads to gain the intention of all of the different businesses and our specific audience. And then it literally just rolls from there.
No, that's amazing. Send me the address and I'm gonna absolutely cheer out
Yeah.
for you, my dear. I'm gonna absolutely share it with people who are heading to Seattle for sure.
This one is in Peoria,
Peoria, okay.
but I will pop it in this
Yeah,
concept. Is here.
absolutely. It's always good to support, and you have done amazing. You know,
Thank
this is what
you.
we talk about entrepreneurs. You did not
Yep.
focus on being COVID and finding hospitality problem. You took Airbnb
Exactly.
to the next level, and you are adding value and helping others.
Yeah, we actually took the pain points that travelers and guests were and hosts were having, and we said, okay, how do we create something that if this were to happen again, that people would still come and hang out with us, that would still come and support us or stay with us and whatnot. And this was the concept that came from that. And actually, I'm creating my own short-term rental platform to eventually compete with Airbnb.
Absolutely.
So I run, between my 3 companies, I run 70 Airbnbs. I am the #1 performing female in the short-term rental industry.
That's amazing.
Thank you. And so I've been in this long enough, and I've had over 2,500 people stay during the last 4 years, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I had 1,000 just in the last, since I started building out this stuff a lot more. It's an incredible idea, and the platform that I'm building will definitely be will gain the attention of a lot of other short-term rental platforms, because they'll realize that, hey, you've got holes missing inside of how your basic functions, and if you don't treat your host and your guests with equal with equal trust and transparency, then it's going to be a matter of time before problems happen.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I will definitely connect you with so many people who are already in investing, and they will be doing short rentals, and there is nobody who can definitely give them the value and the information than you, because you are already doing it.
And Karina, for you and all of your foreign nationals, and for those of you that are working with the foreign nationals, it really is a beautiful model. They can collaborate together. It doesn't have to be, one person, as long as each person owns 50% of the investment.
Absolutely.
Then we can make a model work that is really appealing to so many E2 investors, because the returns are so significant. They're not kind of, skirting on marginality. You've got 7-figure returns on, well, obviously this is a large scale, but still you're going to be looking at really good numbers because of the multiple streams of income that we're building into the model. So.
But Lauren, based on your, you think Investors International are allowed to co-lease with her, or how you think they can do that? Or they have to buy the unit in wherever she's operating, and she's the one who's gonna run their business as a short?
No, absolutely. I can't give you, oh my goodness. I don't know what happened there. One moment. Am I still here? Because it's telling me.
Yeah, you are here.
It's telling me, do you want to leave the meeting? I'm like, I don't think so. So look, to qualify for an E2 visa, you can be partners. You have to own 50% of the business that is making the investment. How that's structured is going to depend on the particular investment. Can they partner with Tia? Yes, as long as they own 50%. I don't think that that's the way we're doing this, though. What we are doing, and we may take a piece of the businesses, but the model is based on providing consulting and strategy on how to set this up. And that's what Tia and I are offering through a joint coaching program that we've developed. We also will have Tia available as a consultant for our clients as well, and just be able to roll this out for each of our clients. So yes, absolutely, Karina, there is a way to make it work every day of the week. And I'm hoping that all of my clients that are kind of privy to this right now are going to be first responders, because I think that once we set this model up, it's going to just fly, literally fly off the shelves.
It works 100%. Numbers, when you do investing, you know the margins. And you know what's your cash flow. So what you're doing, it's absolutely genius. I'm telling you this.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things that I learned here like doing this project is, for me, in my case, it might not be in the case for everybody, was I was willing to give up equity, like a small percentage of equity in the company or a decent percentage of equity in the company in order to bring on people to the team, like into this project that I knew could not only just help me get to where I needed to be, but who could double the revenue that came through than originally planned.
And that's very forward thinking. And too many entrepreneurs tend to think, oh, I want it all for myself. Okay.
Right.
Look, I say this to a lot of my aspiring franchisors that want to develop franchise concepts or are developing prototypes, and then they're going to copy. The key is that if you can figure out a way that you can lather, rinse, repeat every day of the week, and somebody's there to help you do that and increase your numbers, you've got a win-win. Remember, McDonald's became McDonald's not when Burger King opened. Like it became, you're kind of complimenting the developer. So Tia's not looking for to be the only one in the space. She's looking to be the best. And it's a compliment because we see the value of this. And that's the beautiful thing. And I know that I have one client who's not on the call right now, who Tia's already spoken to, who was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this here, and then I'm going to do it there, and then, okay, well, we have to walk before we run, but the truth is that it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah. But it's amazing because, like, if you wanted to see it in person, come to Peoria. Tell me the dates that you're arriving. I'll see if I have a rental available for you. Come see it in person and see how incredible this really is. And how it functions. Like, I always love meeting new friends, so you're more than welcome to come hang out with me. And as long as you like Huskies, you're more than welcome to hang out with me and my Huskies. But it's a huge opportunity to create something that boosts not only obviously our business income, but it boosts the local community's income. It creates something fun and exciting for freaking every person in town. And you can build such a strong brand around it that even if you had 30 other people who are doing the same thing in your city, you will not have competition because they're not doing it the way that you're doing it.
Always remember that.
So when people come into any of my training programs that I've ever done, whether it's Airbnb or doing, different things, I have to teach them that your mindset doesn't need to be, hey, how do I make sure that nobody ever knows anything, all of the deep secrets or things like that? It's no, how do you create something that no one else can compare to? Because how I run my company is definitely not going to be the same way how somebody else runs my company. So they're not, someone was being savage. My niece was being savage. She's like, they'll just never be your competition because they're never on your level. And I laughed because my niece is very savage.
It's true.
It's true.
Again, I just go back to that McDonald's concept because I've had many clients who are like, oh, they're going to steal my idea. They're going to steal my idea. And the reality is nobody can steal your idea because it's your idea. They can copy your idea. They can mimic your idea. But at the end of the day, you have something that makes you stand out from everyone else. And that's the beauty of this model. Carmen, did you have your hand up did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I have two questions.
Cool. Sure.
Sorry. Go ahead, Tia.
No. I was just like, I didn't realize those were actually hands up. I thought that was some like picture for your like profile. So I was like, oh cute.
Carmen, you can only ask a question if you bring Samuel on the camera.
I know he's sleeping.
Okay.
I saw you say that.
They have a new baby. He's 4 months now?
Oh,
Just about, yeah.
He's
like
the cutest thing ever. So anyway, that's fine. You'll have to show me later.
So I have two questions. One is, how much did you know about this town before moving into it and doing what you're doing? And then my second question is, if you'd never done a short-term rental, would you say, because you were like, you want to crawl before you walk. So would you say to get a few short-term rentals, get going, see what it's like, and then build your concept of what you're going to do that's going to be like, you know what I mean? That's going to be original to me, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop something in the chat for everybody. So there's this guy named Patrick Bet David. He has a YouTube video that's called Your Next 15 Moves. This is very, very educational. I've listened to it multiple times. It's definitely at least an hour long, so make sure that you have a dedicated time for this. Yes, in order for you to run a business that's like this, you have to understand you have to either know how to run the individual pieces, or you need to be willing to bring on people onto your team, whether you're hiring them or whether you're bringing them on equity partners who have proven that. So what we did is, I've been in the short-term rental industry, so I knew how to run each of the individual units. That was a no-brainer. That was basically just get them set up, get the process going, good to go. So then it transitioned into, okay, I never run a wedding event venue before. I've never run a coffee shop before. Who do I know in this town that knows how to do that? Who do I know in my friends and family who might know how to do this? So that's when we started partnering directly with other companies who we said, okay, tell us what your pricing point is, tell us your experience, and then we just partnered with them business to business. So we brought them on basically as a contractor, so that we didn't have to pay them on our payroll, but we knew their prices and we added it into what we were doing. Now, the design in each of the spaces, because I love decorating. That's one of my biggest passions now. I used to hate it, now I love it. And it's one of those things that that I know, okay, I can make this space attractive to people, but I need to get key people in here who can actually make it function. So for example, on our coffee shop, we just started doing interviews for them. And on our first day, I found somebody that I was like, I'm going with my gut instinct. I'm hiring her immediately, because she had passion, she had vision, she knew her coffees like unbelievable. I'm from Seattle, so you better know your coffees pretty much, like, and she makes really great
Does
coffees.
that sound familiar about her knowing
Management.
just feeling the passion and jumping in, Maral? She's, yes, poor girl. She met me last week and she's like, okay, I'm in.
Yep, 100%. Like you have to realize, like, if your idea is going to work, you got to find key players and key people that are going to help make that work. And if you have something that is amazing to them, they already have built out clientele that they're going to tell everybody about. And it's awesome because it takes a load off of my shoulder. I pretty much talked to this coffee lady, our new Tara, her name is Tara. And I was like, Tara, this coffee shop is going to be your baby. Exactly. We're going to set up the menu. We're going to set up all this other stuff together. I'll handle all the decoration, the furnishing. Basically anything that happens behind this coffee bar, that is you. So I need you to tell me what you need to do your job best in order to make this.
Empower.
Exactly. And so, yeah, so we ended up just partnering with a whole bunch of people and doing that. Now, to jump back to the first question in regards to how did I know this was going to be a great area? Well, the first thing is I've been in the short-term rental industry a long time. So I'm able to know when I see key businesses in the area and I'm seeing the rental prices, I'm seeing the current revenue that's coming through, and I'm able to be like, okay, that is a gold mine. Like, we are sitting on an untapped market. And so when I look at that, and as I've mentioned a couple times before, I'm always looking for how many colleges are there, how many hospitals are there, how many sporting events, how many concerts, how many activities, how far am I away from downtown? There's a lot of stuff that, like, if you think about it, if you were a traveler, what would attract you to go to a place, right? Make a list of those things and see if you have those. And what was huge is everyone who lives in Peoria cannot understand why people are traveling to Peoria. But the biggest thing is, like, these guys are an industrial city. They're a mecca for not only music and art, but they're huge in the industrialization category. And so they did not realize that, yeah, as a local born and raised here, Peoria might not be like the most shiny object. And that's why they go to Nashville and, Seattle and all these other places. But for businesses that have to hire people to come move here for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months at a time, they have to have something that's going to be furnished already for them, that's going to basically be turnkey, and that's going to keep them engaged long enough and entertained long enough that they're going to enjoy their time here too. And so, and that's huge. Like we had, right before this, I actually panicked that our meeting today was at 10 o'clock my time. So I was like, I did have a little freak out moment, but I had just had a walkthrough tour with a company that their guest happens to be, like, one of their employees happens to be staying here right now in our Airbnb, told them what we were doing. They happened to be a 2-block walk from us, came over here this morning and was like, we plan on hosting all of our corporate events with you. We plan on hosting all of our travelers, all of our CEOs, anybody who's coming in for our company. We want to put them here. How do we sign a business-to-business relationship contract with you?
So Tia, we're going to wrap up because we could talk about this all day.
Forever.
But I want to thank you for joining us today and joining my tribe and helping us to grow this and build this baby, because it's very exciting. And I know that everybody, all of my current clients and future clients are like, okay, how do we do this? Okay, I want to do it now. Okay, let's get this done. Okay, Lauren. Okay. So I'm totally excited and stoked. I thank everybody for joining us. We are available. We will be sending follow-ups and, you know, connect with Tia and I, and we will figure out a way to collaborate and bring some value to you in this model. And it's our pleasure to be here. Wish you all a lovely weekend. And thank you again. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Talk to you all soon.